We always hear how getting married is good for you, right?
Right.
Especially for older folks.
Yeah.
Helps them stay healthy and all that. But
Uh-huh.
I saw this study, and it's got me thinking, maybe it's not that simple.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it seems like being married might actually increase your risk of dementia.
Wow, that's interesting. Where did you see that?
It was published in Alzheimer's and Dementia, pretty reputable journal.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that one.
It's a pretty big study, too, over 24,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and they followed them for a long time, like up to 18 years.
So what exactly did they do? Like, how did they figure this out?
So they had all these people, aged 50 to 104,
Okay.
and at the beginning, none of them had dementia,
Got it.
but they were all either married, widowed, divorced, or had never been married.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then every year, they gave them all these tests and exams, to track their cognitive health.
So like memory tests and things like that.
Yeah. Exactly. And they did this at 42 different Alzheimer's disease research centers all across the U.S.
So they gathered a lot of data then.
Oh, yeah. They ended up with something like 122,000 person years of data.
Wow, that's huge. That's a lot of information to work with.
Yeah. So it seems like they really did their homework.
So, what do they find? What's the bottom line?
Well, the surprising part is that the married and widowed folks, they actually had a higher chance of developing dementia compared to the single or divorced people.
Huh. So being married wasn't protective.
Not according to this study. For married and widowed folks, the rate was almost 22%.
22%, so like 1 in 5, basically.
Yeah, but for divorced and never married folks, it was way lower, like around 12.5%.
That's a big difference.
Right. And it wasn't just a fluke either. They controlled for all sorts of other things like age, gender, race, education, even lifestyle stuff.
And it's still held up.
Yeah, pretty much. But there's one really weird thing.
What's that?
So the people who became widowed during the study, they were actually less likely to get dementia than those who stayed married the whole time.
Oh, wow. That's really strange.
I know, right? Makes you wonder what's going on there.
It does. It definitely adds another layer to all of this.
Absolutely. So the researchers, they think that maybe single folks, they just have better social lives.
Like more friends and stronger connections.
Exactly. Maybe if you're not relying on your spouse for everything, you make more of an effort to build relationships with other people.
That makes sense. It's like you diversify your social portfolio.
Yeah, and they also think maybe single people are more self-reliant, which could help their brains stay sharp.
It's like if you're always having to figure things out on your own, it keeps your mind active.
Yeah, maybe. And the researchers, they even said that married people, they might have less social integration overall, and their interactions might be less frequent and lower quality.
That's a pretty bold statement. It kind of goes against the whole idea of marriage being this great source of social support, doesn't it?
It does. But, there's this psychologist, Dr. Bella DePaulo. She's done a lot of research on single people.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of her.
And she says that single people, they often lead richer lives, like psychologically richer.
In what way?
They have more diverse experiences, they try new things, they meet different kinds of people.
So it's like they're constantly challenging themselves and learning.
Exactly. And maybe that helps keep their brains in better shape. So I guess the takeaway here is that it's not just about being married or single.
Right. It's more about the kind of life you're living. Right.
Like how active you are socially, how much you rely on yourself, how many new things you experience.
So for our listeners, what advice would you give them based on all of this?
Well, I think it's worth taking a look at your own life and asking yourself some questions.
Like what kind of questions?
Like how diverse are your social connections?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
And how much do you challenge yourself to try new things?
Mm-hmm.
Do you step outside your comfort zone?
That's a big one for a lot of people.
It is, but it seems like it might be important for keeping your brain healthy.
And what about self-reliance? How would you encourage people to think about that?
Well, I think it's about finding a balance. You don't want to be completely dependent on others, but you don't have to do everything alone either. It's more about having the confidence to handle things on your own when you need to.
So it's really about taking ownership of your life and making choices that support your well-being, both socially and mentally.
Exactly. And this study, it really challenges the idea that marriage is some kind of automatic guarantee of a healthy mind.
It shows that there's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah, and maybe we need to shift our focus away from just marital status and look more at the quality of our relationships and the richness of our experiences.
It's like instead of asking, are you married? We should be asking, are you engaged with life?
I like that. So just to recap, this massive study found that married and widowed folks had a higher risk of dementia compared to single or divorced people.
Right, and that was true even after considering other factors like age, gender, and lifestyle.
And we also talked about how those who became widowed during the study had a lower risk than those who stayed married.
And remember, unmarried men, they had the lowest risk of all.
So it seems like having diverse social connections, being self-reliant, and constantly trying new things, those could be really important for maintaining cognitive health.
And it raises the question, could our society's emphasis on marriage as the be-all and end-all of social connection actually be detrimental to some people's cognitive health?
That's a really interesting thought. It makes you wonder if maybe we're putting too much emphasis on one type of relationship at the expense of others.
And maybe by focusing on building a rich and varied life full of diverse experiences and strong connections, we can all do more to protect our brains as we age, regardless of our marital status.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. We hope this has given you some food for thought. Click like and subscribe to the Unlock Your Mind channel.